A very unique opportunity lies before us as the 5-day macro timeframe closure approaches. The closure can be paired with a macro formation that has a great strike rate for succession, not to mention the pattern has established itself within that larger time frame as well. Welcome back to the channel on this Taco Tuesday. This is ARCa, and let's dive into ticker symbol FNGR. Let's kill him. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again. Let's dive straight in to ticker symbol FNGR, and you are looking at it here on the 5-day time frame. Very impressive price action today, I must admit. We actually were looking for this topside target. Unfortunately, not today, though. We were speculating a topside target of this level to be reached at maybe within Wednesday or Thursday this week. We came in with a very early run on this game, right? So please take a notice here. Okay, so this is what I want to show you here. Sorry if I'm running my mouth right here. I'm running on autopilot, right? But go ahead and take a look at this. This is the first 5-day iteration after this reclaim, right? So we reclaimed the inside of the descending broadening wedge, right? We reclaimed the inside, and now we're breaking outside again. So, of course, we have this 5-day time frame not touching the regression line, okay? So that's the whole point of this. The fact that we have a completely clean closure upside of the newly converted support is, in essence, a validation before a continuation to the upside. And on the time frame here, you're noticing that in 19 hours, 47 minutes, and 30 seconds, you will be closing this 5-day iteration. So this means tomorrow at market close, we have the opportunity to close the first 5-day time frame in a couple of weeks, right? So I am definitely liking what is happening within this price action here. Okay, so of course, you know, we can go over those topside targets based on this formation. So this is a macro formation of which we have been trading since February 2021, and now we're creating finally the official breakout here, and it looks like there could be a continuation to that upside. Now, I'm reminding you of this play here because this was essentially what we were talking about as the bear trap just what was it a couple weeks ago, right? So you have this shoulder here, right? You have this the head, and you have the other shoulder for an inverse head and shoulders formation within a 5-day time frame. So what you're essentially looking at here is actually a bullish buy formation. Okay, so you have the descending broadening wedge, and you have the exiting pattern, which is typical for descending formations to perform, right? So usually these descending channels, maybe descending, descending channels, descending wedges like this, even falling wedges, and even at times some of the descending triangles too. They tend to form an inverse head and shoulders on the way out, right? So it is a kind of a psychological thing that humans just do, right? So now you can see here that on this 5-day candle here, we reached a low of 385, and that is how we were able to determine. It was how we were able to determine that we may have a shot at getting that 385 touch, which would then set up a potential bear trap, right? So this would be a bear trap territory if we don't fail that inflection. So price action ended up coming down to 396, and then it ripped to the upside, right? So we were off by a good 11 cents in trying to get that bottom side, but we were already noticing that this 385 could have been the bottom side before we can actually explode to the upside, of which we actually have done over the course of the last week or two, right? So now this, I guess I can give you some of those targets, right? So yeah, your descending broadening wedge does have a take profit target located right at the genesis of the formation. And this is that target that I've spoke about a couple times already. It's indicating 1283. I'm not saying that we're going there. Remember, team, I'm not saying that we're going there. I'm giving you how to trade this formation itself. right? And that's how to trade it. Usually the take profit formation, the take profit for this, or the price objective, is located at the genesis of the formation itself, right? So let me, you know what? Let me just go ahead and make this into a dotted line. There we go. And the genesis being right over here, right? That is why the 1283 is located there. Now, as far as your the herpy derpy here, right? The inverse head and shoulders. This could arguably be your neckline, right? So you would take a trend line from that neckline, and then you apply it all the way to the bottom side of the price action down there. Then you apply it to the top side of that inverted shoulder on the right-hand side, and this would now expose another target, right? I don't feel the most comfortable talking about this target here because, you know, it's just it's not something that is realistic to me right now. I would really like to focus on the price action that we can focus on, right? But I mean, if you're looking at this in some type of other play, then there is a pretty nice, I guess, let's see. I can mark it off if I were to do something like this based on regression. I guess I can actually use that as a resistance range, right? This is very, very, how should I say, speculative, right? So, you know, this target, that target there, and then we could even try to validate it somehow using some fibs, and just like this here, right? So please notice that it is very, very confluent with the 3 spot 618 to the 4 spot 236, almost dead on. And that's your geometric levels, right? So now you can see that psychologically speaking, geometrically speaking, and also, so psychologically and geometrically, this is, it's all confluent. So the strategy makes a lot of sense. So psychological, why? Because of the both of the take profits from the descending broadening wedge and your inverted head and shoulders here, and geometric because, of course, your regression here, and or mathematical, right? And then your geometrics would be based on Fibonacci retracement. So yeah, those are some of those other targets that I'm focusing on. But remember, team, that my primary play here is not to really guess the super top side targets here. It's really to evaluate what's within our control, right? So I mean specifically today, right? I was talking about a top side of around 547. Over the weekend for today, I was talking about a top side of around 547 to 560 or 550, I think I said. Right, so right around there, and the price action ended up touching 595 by in the after hours. So you can see just how much FOMO and psychology can take over the charts and really kind of make them really hazy and difficult to use, right? So very nice clean break out of this regression right here, right? So that's definitely something bullish. I'm really liking what I'm seeing here, and if it were to pull back, I guess we can focus on a target of 546 to around 552 to test a regression and then continue on. But I don't have any guarantee behind that. In fact, the statistical upside here is essentially fired. And I mean, we spoke about this, right? This is the daily time frame volatility versus momentum backtest that we invalidated and then revalidated by breaking outside of the 15th percentile, which now makes us adjust our upside targets, right? So now the target that we're looking at here for the 68 spot 51 or 52%, that is from the standard deviation. This is the lower bound, the upper bound of the first standard deviation, and that target is leading to a very confluent 888 with the 2 spot 618 at 882, right? Very, very impressive. Now, the 35 spot 13% is actually the standard deviation calculation coming out of the mean, and that is indicative of a target that's right around 716, which, by the way, marks off very, very perfectly the 716 top side of this range here. Right, so very, very curious for it to be that close. And also on a shorter time frame, you have the 3 spot 618 at 708, so it does have correlation with geometrics as well. Right, so I guess if we if we continue on to the upside, yeah, higher probability upsides here, and we could be facing some resistance from this zone here. But of course, it's just that's the way things happen. It's also a very critical inflection zone since we did print that 716 top within this range here. Okay, team. So let's go ahead and move on to the next chart and see what's going down, right? So what I wanted to say here actually is that there was some strength actually presented by the Singapore exchange, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at that. You can see that we're still in the green. There was an immediate capitulation here and just enormous recovery. But it was I think it was a 13-point recovery. Let me see. At the 320, wow, yeah, 328 to 341, a clean 12 to 13 point recovery, and this helped FNGR face some pretty nice price action towards the upside, right? So I'm definitely liking what I'm seeing here too. All right, so let me just go ahead and match this thing back like that so that we keep our charts consistent. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next chart and see what we have. Okay, so yeah, why don't we go ahead and take a look at this? So we're looking at volatility versus momentum here on the 4-hour time frame, and you can see here that we have a very convincing upside pivot on that EMA 3, and we also have the SMA 14 pivoted towards the upside. This is in the gravitational zone of the bull strength percentile or the bullish control zone. So this is very likely to continue on to the upside. And notice that your 4-hour time frame volatility is expanding very nicely with an upside pivot on both the moving average and the volatility component. This is one whole setup by itself. And if we can validate some more of that, then let's go ahead and just add here the directional movement index, aka DMI, right? So please notice here that this is meeting the absolute criteria for a validation to whoever is leading the upside or downside. So please notice here that the bulls DMI plus, aka this green line, is actually right on top. I mean, way over the bulls, way over the bears. And the most important thing here is the ADX, the average directional index, and that whenever it sits at 30%, of which it is right now, 30 and 3/4, right? That indicates that there is a very strong trending market to whoever is leading the way. In this case, DMI plus bulls. Okay, so everything is looking very good here in the 4-hour time frame. So let's go up to the 6-hour time frame and see what we have. Very nice upside pivot here in the gravitational zone of the bullish control zone, and we have expanding volatility to another great setup right over here, team. Notice that the ADX is sitting at about 24%, almost to 25. 25 is usually the minimum for a strong trending market to whoever's on top. Right now, of course, still your DMI plus or bulls are still leading the way. At our 8-hour time frame, very nice upside pivot here. EMA 3 approaching the gravitational zone of the bullish control zone, and we're re-expanding in volatility right there. So I definitely love that. And we have a 21% ADX with the DMI plus leading, so it's getting close to a minimum criteria here too. So that's looking very good. Upside pivot on that 12-hour time frame, increasing volatility, and your ADX is sitting just about 25% with the DMI plus on top. All of these time frames are expanding from critical contraction with an upside pivot on stochastics and very close read on your ADX. When you have multiple time frames like the way we're observing right now, that usually gives a higher probability upside continuation. Okay, so please notice here, daily time frame absolutely looking very, very attractive. Bouncing off, we already spoke about this. This is the rejection and reclaim of the stats play, right? So yeah, everything is looking very nice here, team. So let's go ahead and touch down with our last part of the analysis, which would be the RSI. So notice that we are going to get a potential opportunity to get long the asset, and we'll go ahead and put together some targets. But yeah, notice here that the downside pivot is very aggressive on the 30-minute time frame. But as we move on to the bi-hourly, you can see right here that the SMA 14 is located right there. Now, at about 62%, right? 63. What I can tell you is that we're very close to the gravitational zone of the bull strength percentile, which would, in essence, bring us down below the SMA 14 and maybe find support from this gravitational zone of the bull weakness percentile. So if that is the case, then it would be falling back to the 4-hour time frame to get that support from the bullish control zone. the bull weakness percentile in particular, and the gravitational zone, which would actually face a really nice dual support system there for an upside continuation. So aside from that, your 6-hour time frame is still suggesting a little bit of downside, but that is being influenced by the earlier time frames, right? So as we move on now to the daily time frame, you can see here clearly that we are on our way to making an upside pivot here on both the RSI signal and the SMA 14. Very nice upside pivot here on the buy daily. We have, of course, we're in the gravitational zone. We can always fail just a little bit of bounce off of the gravitational zone from the bull weakness percentile and that SMA 14, and a very, very nice continuation and confirmation of a bullish drive of divergence, right? It's a drive of bullish divergence, which is the opposition of price action versus momentum. In this case, momentum represented by the RSI, creating higher lows while the price action is creating lower lows, right? So this opposition creates a divergent drive, and it is validated by the price action and by the moving average. So it is continuing on to the upside. So I would imagine here that the shorter time frame is likely to face a support very, very soon here, and I think we could put together a target of a potential pullback, right? So we already kind of touched down on one of those potentials, but let's see if we can do that one more time, right? So let me pull up maybe one of these over here. Let's see. Actually, let's do it on a master layout, right? So we can understand what that price could be. All right, so I don't think any of my relevant targets here. I was looking at it at the beginning of the video. I spoke around a 552, right? So I'm still honoring that. However, I do think that the 563 is slightly in the way. So why don't we go ahead and mark off your 563 zone, and this would be your invalidation area. So that has a natural support based on this top side of the wick over here. So 558 to 563 could be that loading zone before a continuation on to the upside. 4-hour bearish engulfing printed. Very likely for us to face a little bit of a pullback here and then face that support, just like we said, on either the 4-hour or the bi-hourly time frame. Get that pullback, bounce from the SMA 14, and continue on to the upside. Everything is looking magical here, team. Please remember that anything that we're doing here, the price action can capitulate out of nowhere. I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying for us to be extremely careful when we're moving on to massive targets like the ones that we're about to face. Breaking the $6 target here, team, is actually a very bullish thing. And we have option expiries coming up on next Friday, on September 15th. So we are now making your $5 strikes. They're in the money now. Your $6 strikes are about to be in the money. And then if we have enough time by next Friday, remember this is a short week. So if we have enough time by next Friday to bring the 7s in the money, that is going to create a massive gamma ramp. Okay, so let's upon the expiry, what I mean. Okay, so let's observe price action, and let's make sure to maintain our risk management. Okay, team, please take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. I need you to do your own due diligence, and everything will be cool. But with that said, team, I wish you well, a very, 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 very good night, and I will catch you at the bell. Mañana. Adios. Yeah.